Ladies and gents, how are you doing? Now, you all know I'm back in the UK after my broadcast from outside the railway station in Luton yesterday. So today I'm back in my hometown at the award-winning Abingdon Primary School in Middlesbrough. They've recently spent about $8 million on refurbishment. As you can see, they've put the money to good use. They've now got one shutter on each window, and there are only 2,000 rats in the small cupboard that functions as a toilet. This weekend, the lies have gone into overdrive on Twitter, so I'm going to do a quick roundup of them all and talk you through what's gone on, because the response of the mainstream media to the Patriot rally is staggering. Honestly, it's unbelievable. They lie like a Chinese Rolex. It's staggering, the things they come out with. But we'll just start with Exhibit A, because this is my favourite. Facts. Black fathers are more actively involved in their kids' lives than any other group. Facts. Yeah, that's a good fact, isn't it? That's one of my favourite facts. In fact, it's in my top 4. The other 3 being, the morbidly obese are thinner than any other group, dwarves and midgets are taller than any other group, and crusty homeless tramps that you see wanking in Debenham's doorway, they smell better than any other group. Right then, so the government and the media are in damage control mode, both in the United Kingdom and the United States. Obviously, in the United States, they're doing the exact thing you'd expect them to do, which is claiming that the violent ones are the people who had prayer vigils for a family man with children, who was gunned down in cold blood by a woke sociopath with a bolt-action rifle in front of a crowd of innocent people. And apparently, the guy with the rifle, he definitely wasn't violent. But the people praying are. Yeah, makes loads of sense. I think this meme speaks volumes of what's going on here. But I do think they've lost at this point. They've lost and they don't even know it yet. Because ultimately, you can lie quite aggressively and use the mainstream media in Silicon Valley to bolster your falsehoods. But I think in 2025 now, there's enough people with access to things like X and YouTube. And the truth's getting out and they're losing. And they thought they could just keep talking nonsense and they'd still be able to pull the wool over everybody's eyes because they controlled the mainstream media and the TV networks and the radio waves. Certainly that seems to be what the British government thinks. Keir Starmer lies more than any Prime Minister in British history, and Boris Johnson was pretty good at it, but Keir Starmer makes him look like a rank amateur. And when you see memes like this, it's painted in black and white in front of you, it's irrefutable. And it's undeniable, because the person they look up to was a career criminal who famously held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. And when he died of a possibly knee-influenced drug overdose, 30 people got murdered, thousands were injured. There were riots and protests in thousands of cities all across the world. In Edinburgh and London and Manchester and Oslo, they were rioting and injuring police officers. But when Charlie Kirk got shot, in one of the most gruesome videos I think many of you will have ever seen, because you're not a war pervert like me who used to sit there watching, Ken Bigley getting a unscheduled surgical procedure in Baghdad. For many of you, it'll have been one of the worst things you've ever seen. And the response to Charlie Kirk getting butchered is nothing. It's calm prayer, peaceful vigils. No, there hasn't been a single incident of mass public order. Not one. No shops got looted. No coppers got killed. Nothing. And yet they're still trying with a straight face to claim that you're the problem and they're the good guys. They're the tolerant, peaceful ones. I don't really need to talk about it anymore, do I? Other than to say it's as self-evidently ludicrous as the meme I started the video with, because we all know the statistics. Speaking of not knowing the statistics, listen to Diane here. Listen to Diane here. This is unbelievable. She might as well be telling you that the sky is green and the grass is blue. It's absolutely unbelievable.
It's very important to stand up to fascism. We need to be in solidarity with asylum seekers, and we need to show that we are united.
And you said this is about women's safety and girls. Obviously the other side say this is about that issue for them too. What's your response?
They're talking nonsense. That's my response. They're talking nonsense. And it's a dangerous lie to try and say that men of colour are a threat to women. It's a very dangerous lie. And
What do you say to that? What do you say to that? We've seen the statistics. Even if you're left-wing and you've never read a right-wing newspaper, you just listen to the BBC or occasionally while you're washing the dishes, you know the statistics. You know them for a fact. At least 250,000 victims over 20 years in 85 cities in the UK. There's your men of colour. They're not getting killed by ginger choir boys from Aberdeen, have they? No. And every single terrorist attack in the UK from the last 10 years that resulted in mass casualties wasn't the natives. Axel Rudu Kanubu, Rwanda, Salman Abedi, Libya, Lee Rigby. Oh no, he wasn't a girl. So we'll just forget about him. Don't worry, I've got plenty more gas in the tank. Borough Market, London Bridge, 7/7, the Nice truck attack, Bataclan, Beslan, bombings from Brussels to Berlin. Women and children are getting killed in the droves by men of colour. Diane, she is as thick as whale spunk, dehydrated whale spunk, and it's quite apt that that's the animal in question because she is another aquatic mammal that shouldn't be walking around London. It's against God. Moving on, let's do Stand Up to Racism next because they've finally verified some numbers. I know some of you chippy buggers in the chat were upset because I said, 500,000 people at the march? There was no true number yesterday. So I was trying to keep it, reasonable on the low end of expectations. But it does sound like, despite the endless lies of the government and the mainstream media, even the left are now conceding there was at least 1 million people there. Let's listen to these two Sparrow-born soy boys from Hope Not Hate, for example.
From the counter demo against Tommy Robinson. And I think before we go to the lessons, we really have to look at the reality of what this demo was, and that is a pretty humiliating defeat.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at the numbers alone, Tommy Robinson's side seems to have gotten around 1 million, and on our side, lucky if it was 15,000, more likely 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe if we just start there, how did we get here?
I mean, before that, we have to be clear about this. Our side was completely defeated. Tommy Robinson won hands down without even a fight. The reports are different regarding the numbers, but the videos show the police said 100,000. It's obviously had more than that, and our side was totally the counter demo was small, was really really tepid, wishy-washy, and what was also surprising is how confident and emboldened the right.
Right, let's just stop there. Few things. First of all, the bloke on the right there, at least he has the good sense to know that they lost convincingly. Even he can do the basic maths that 10,000 versus 1 million isn't going to go very well. Which answers the Beardy Weirdies question. Why are they so confident? Well, I'll tell you why they're so confident, knobhead. It's because they outnumber you and your ilk 50-1. You know it, I know it. I've made this point loads of times. If it comes to a dust-up, they're going to lose. So I suggest the government gets a grip and actually deals with these extremists before it gets to a dust-up. Because if the double standard keeps going on, where they're locking people like Lucy Connolly up for 3 years, but allowing raving lunatics like this guy to carry on spewing unmitigated hatred, well, things aren't going to end well, are they? Oh, sorry, I didn't throw him up. This guy, Bob Villan, brazen liar, praiser of violent, murderous sociopaths, and all-round talentless middle-class knobhead. He was responding here saying, I definitely didn't celebrate Charlie Kirk's death because people started having a go. But again, they keep thinking they can lie. They can't. The video's out there for the whole world to see. I'm sure you've seen it, but here it is.
I want to dedicate this next one to an absolute piece of shit of a human being. The pronouns was, were. Because if you chat shit, you will get banned. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, a piece of shit.
Yeah, laughing the entire time, loving it. What a weasel. And X is replete with thousands and thousands of examples of this all weekend. But despite that, the British government and the mainstream media has spent the last 2 days telling us that the real problem is you going to a protest where you didn't cause any bother and you didn't demand anybody get murdered. It's a crazy time to be alive. James O'Brien was obviously gobbing off, but I'm sick of doing the human-shaped cube of ham. So we'll just cover Dilly Hussein's latest ridiculous little post. He posted this bit of footage of one of the more based speakers at the protest, and he said, "I wonder what the net result of telling 100,000 people that we're the enemy and we have to get rid of it could be, as if talking is causing all these problems." And I've made this point many times. The root cause of the problem isn't Tony Romo talking. It's not me or Sargon or Paz or Liam Tufts or anybody else speaking. Only a legendary orator can turn, a tepid crowd into a furious swarm. And none of us are that. The real problem is the inaction by the governments, the police, and the mainstream media, and the double standards. That's the problem, because it's hypocrisy that drives people wild with rage. And this knobhead and all the people like him trying to make out as if the problem is people talking are purposely being deliberately obtuse. The problem is inaction by the state. The Southport killings, seeing those 3 dead children. In fact, let's look at them. Seeing those images can push you into a cold fury, the likes of which 50,000 speeches could never achieve. Once again, the scum that lord it over you are focusing on the wrong problem. The problem isn't us talking. The problem is a lack of action that allows things like this to happen. Events like that radicalise more people than any 50,000 conferences or Charlie Kirk question and answers or reading stories about grieving mothers. This type of stuff could turn a dull middle-class housewife into a hate-spitting harpy, couldn't it? Because we all empathise. Any father or mother with a young daughter who sees those pictures and reads those headlines is one bad day away from marching through Parliament with a meat cleaver. The problem isn't the talking, it's you not doing anything about the people who chop little girls up or blow up pop concerts or, dare I say it, groom, torture and surprise sex 250,000 little girls. It ain't the talking that's radicalising people. It's the lack of action by a complicit state. So get a grip of it, lads. That's all I'm saying. If you don't get a grip of it, if people like Bob Villan and Destiny, these hateful lunatics online who promote murder, if these people who promote the killing of people for talking don't get rounded up, tried, and then locked up, it's just going to hammer the point home that the powers that be don't care about the lives of our children. And if that becomes crystal clear, why wouldn't you get violent? Why wouldn't you forcibly remove the baby killers from Parliament? Why wouldn't you do it? So that's me done. I've said my piece. If Mr. Starmer
Gay!
sees this video, he best get a grip. He best get a grip of it and sort it out, because it's not going to end well if he doesn't. The problem isn't talking. The problem is violent, dangerous men being unleashed on the streets while the government does nothing about it. Oh yeah, that reminds me. By popular demand, I also added a clip for Peter Mandelson.
How's the wife? Oh, gone. I was living a lie and she knew it, but now I'm able to go out and enjoy some serious cock guilt-free. Yumma, 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 yumma.
I don't know who suggested that, but excellent choice. So that's been added to the roster. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're swallowing any of the nonsense the media's been pushing for the last 3 days, please let me know where you live so I can send you some medicine, and I'll send the blokes around with a net and a padded van for you. All right? Thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.